do?
My name is Leo Willix. I'm a driver for Enterprise Transport. Live in Council Bluffs, and just, I don't know exactly what kind of information you want from me. I mean, I can go into my whole life story here, but
Sure.
well, I was born in Panama, raised in Dallas, Texas, and then ended up here by a long series of events. Kind of got told about this yesterday. My boss told me he had a load for me going to Ames, but it just basically really didn't have a whole lot of information about it. Just that, y'all wanted to run some cameras, and once I showed up and realized what was going on, it was a little bit different than talking to Mike about what his vision was or what his project is. It kind of reminded me back in high school when I used to do a lot of art appreciation classes and stuff like that. So, put me back in that mindset, I guess, so to speak. We were talking earlier about the difference of hospitality, because he said he lives in LA. Difference between there and here in Iowa, hospitality is a lot different. I said it's a slower way of life. Nobody's in a huge hurry, so they have time to remember, I guess, manners and politeness and how to actually be hospitable to people. And so it's kind of nice to see that get recognized too. I mean, I'm not even from here, but my family's from here, so I've always grown up with a Midwest kind of lifestyle. Yeah.
Was it probably pretty different having like artwork as your cargo?
It is. I mean, I think at first when I didn't realize what it wasn't so stressful. But then once I actually talked to Mike and talked to you guys about what exactly was going on, what I was hauling, it added a little bit more stress, because you're realizing you're messing with somebody's idea, their view of things, and if you screw that up, then that could destroy the whole thing. It's a lot more of a process than I thought it would be, to be honest. I thought it would be just, kind of, hey, show up and put this here, and hey, we got art. But it's a lot of what I've seen, a lot of
turn left on
a lot of moving parts and a lot of figuring out what works best for the situation. So I guess it's not even necessarily the pieces that he's putting in. You could also say the whole thing is like part of the art, is bringing all this stuff together to create an image, to create a vision of things. I'm no art expert, but that's the way I would see it, is just what it takes.
Yeah.
It's a process.
What do you think of the pieces?
They're definitely different. My first impression of it was, because we were talking about the medium or what it's made of, the fact that it's made out of concrete, which I work with all the time. To me, it kind of speaks to how once you get rid of the roughness of what we create as a people, I guess, so to speak, the concrete walls and everything like that. Once you get rid of that, you go back into just the openness, the I guess the serenity. You look out here and it's wide open land. You got some buildings, but not a whole lot. But the more and more you get rid of that harshness, you get back to what the beauty of life really is, in my view. It kind of reminds me of like the show Life After Humans, so to speak. The idea that nature will take everything back. I don't think that's sort of what we're dealing with here, but it's more of the idea, if you get rid of all the man-made stuff, you get to see what life was really supposed to be like, the beauty behind it. And that's my impression. Again, I'm not an art expert, but from a layman's point of view, that's what I see. You can really, like I told Mike earlier, a lot of people don't understand art, especially pieces like this, because they don't see it day to day. They think that, well, art needs to be in a frame, it needs to be on a wall in a museum, and that's not the way it always is. And the other great thing that I've always found about artwork and expression pieces or so on is, yeah, you have the initial view that the artist had that says, okay, this is what I see. But then once they put it out into the world, it opens it up to what everybody else can see. and not everybody's going to see the same exact thing. You know, some people are going to see, well, that's just concrete sitting out in the middle of the field. Woo, big deal. Other people might actually go, okay, you know, that speaks to me as far as, you know, like I just said, or, you know, it affects me in a certain way. And to me, that's what the point is to make an effect and to make people talk. That's my 2 cents on it.
You said you're from Panama. What brought you to Iowa?
Well, I was adopted when I was 3 and raised in Dallas. My mom was originally from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Grew up there, ended up in the Army, stationed there, Fort Carson, ended up working for the railroad, and then ended up training for them, or being a trainer for Union Pacific up here in North Platte. Got laid off, divorced, and found who I consider to be my soulmate, and moved out to Council Bluffs, and kind of been here ever since.
Awesome.
You know, so it's not what I consider home, like what I grew up with, but it's a close second.
Yeah.
So I love it out here, and I love the quietness. For the most part, the weather, as you can see, it's not really the greatest right now, but usually the weather's pretty nice and the people are great. So not a bad place to call home.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we've been out here for a little bit. I'm also from LA.
Mm-hmm.
It's been, I don't know, it's been enjoyable being out here in the open space and the people. It's an honesty that you don't get in LA.
Right, and it's you don't have people that are too busy. Like I used to do runs out to New York, and there is just busy. You know, you don't get the kind of place where people take their time. Like out here, you know, we sat there and while we were doing this work, we were talking and we were actually having a camaraderie. I've never met these people before, but you know, if I met them in a bar or something like that, or somewhere out, and I recognize them, we'd be right back to it. It's just it's that fellowship that still exists out here, out in, you know, what they call the flyover states. And you know, to be honest, I'm fine with them being flyover states. Keep your business out to the edges. We'll have our life here. It's just it's a nice way of life. It's a good place to raise a family and grow up.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for chatting a little bit.
Yeah, not a problem.